Dear students, in our last part, in the last explanation, we have completed up to the connective tissue, where we have discussed about various types of connective tissues which are available among animals. We have discussed about areolar tissues, we have discussed about adipose tissues, we have discussed about white fibrous and yellow elastic tissues, where we have explained about the function of tendons and ligaments. Thereafter, we have explained reticular tissues. After that, we have entered into the skeletal tissues, that is mainly the cartilages and the bones. To what extent cartilage differs from bone, what are the advantages of these two parts, that we have discussed. Finally, we have entered into the fluid connective tissue, where we have discussed about blood, about the various constituents of blood, that is RBC, WBC and the platelets. We have discussed about their functions, and also we have ended up with the explanation about lymph, its constituents, its function, the similarities and the differences with blood. All these things we have discussed, and I have promised you to start in the next part about muscular tissues. So let us then today start our discussion about muscular tissues. Muscles which contract and relax to make the movements of the body possible are made up of muscular tissue. In other words, we can say that muscles are responsible, muscles which are present in our body are responsible for movement, for locomotion of our body. So, now these muscular tissues are divided into three types. What are they? They are striated muscles, non-striated muscles, and cardiac muscles. So, let us then start with striated muscles. Striated muscles are also called voluntary muscles. Why they are called voluntary muscles? Because they are under the direct control of our will. Whenever required, according to our own will, our own wish, we can use these muscles for contraction and relaxation. The muscle fibers of striated muscles or cells which make up striated muscles are multinucleate and are unbranched. They are not having any branch at all. So, these striated muscles are unbranched. Each cell or fiber of this striated muscle is enclosed in a thin, definite membrane called sarcolemma. Okay? A definite membrane is covering up this muscle fibers. That membrane is called sarcolemma, spelling COLEMMA, sarcolemma. The cytoplasm of the muscle fiber called sarcoplasm contains filament called myofibrils. So the muscle fibers consist of some filaments called myofibrils. It is these contractile filaments which cause the movement of muscles, and they also give rise to some striations, some striped design is present over these muscles. These striated muscles, as the name suggests, constitute about 50% of the body weight and are attached primarily to the bones mainly. They are mainly located in our arms, in our leg regions, in our neck, etc., etc. So, whenever we are wanting for the movement of these bones of arms or legs or neck, we are applying the activity of striated muscles. So these muscles get tired and they need some rest at some regular interval. They cannot work continuously. Dear students, this is about striated muscle. Now let us start explaining non-striated muscles. Non-striated muscles are called involuntary muscles. Why are they called involuntary muscles? Because they are not under the direct control of our will. Whenever we wish, we cannot control, we cannot bring the contraction and relaxation of these non-striated muscles. The muscle fibers or cells of non-striated muscles are uninucleate and they are spindle shaped. Spindle, the meaning of spindle, I think you understand. The end parts are a little bit pointed and the middle part are bulging. Okay, so they are spindle shaped. The ends of these cells may be branched. Each cell is not enclosed in a membrane, but instead of that, many fibers are joined together in bundles by loose connective tissues. Myofibrils run longitudinally through the fibers of these muscles, which are also called smooth. Movement of alimentary canal, which causes the passage of food, is due to the contraction of these non-striated muscles. Since we are telling about the movement of alimentary canal, students, you can very easily understand that we cannot control according to our will the very contraction and relaxation of the alimentary canal. Rather, we do not know also when this contraction and relaxation is going on this very digestive tube. So, really, it is involuntary in true sense. Smooth muscles are also found in blood vessels, the iris of the eye, the ureter, bronchi, and the skin are also having these non-striated muscles. The ureter or the bronchi, the windpipe, the part of the windpipe also is not under our control. So that also is verifying rightly that they are the examples of non-striated muscles. The muscles which are present on the walls of this ureter or the bronchi, surely then they are non-striated muscles because they are involuntary. That is also tallying with our explanation. So this is about the non-striated muscles. Yes, these muscles, as the name suggests, they are not having this stripe as it was present in the voluntary muscles of the striated one. Now, the third muscles which we are supposed to discuss is cardiac muscles. The cardiac muscles are also involuntary muscles. They are involuntary in action, but they are found only on the walls of the heart. These muscle fibers are uninucleate and branched. They are having only one nuclei and they are profusely branched. And just keep it in mind that they are present only on the wall of the heart, of our heart. These branches are united by intercalated disc. They also have some characteristics of the non-striated and the striated muscles. Means these muscles are having the amalgamation, the mixture of some characteristics of the striated and the non-striated muscles. Each fiber is surrounded by sarcolemma and the myofibrils present in the sarcoplasm gives the muscle a striated appearance. The nucleus is centrally located. They are present at the center of the fiber. These muscles contract rapidly and rhythmically at regular interval, equal interval, throughout our life without any external stimulation. One very special property of this very cardiac muscle is that, try to understand that the striated muscles and the non-striated muscles are getting tired after contracting and relaxing for a while. But this cardiac muscle is working right from our birth. It is contracting and relaxing right from our birth time till our death. It cannot stop. since its stoppage means the very stoppage of the pumping of our heart, and that cannot be tolerated by our life cycle. It is not permissible by our daily life. The moment the heart will stop will indicate the stoppage of our life also. So keep it in your mind that the cardiac muscles never get tired, and they continually help to pump the blood throughout the life of an individual. So this continuous contraction and relaxation is the speciality of this cardiac muscle in comparison to that of the striated muscles and the non-striated muscles. So this is all about the explanation of three kind of muscles that are present on our various part of our body. So then students, today we have discussed about the shape, structure and function of striated muscles, how striated muscle works. We have given some location also, where are those points in our body where these striated muscles are located and in what way they work. We also discussed about the non-striated muscles. We said why these striated muscle and non-striated muscles are called voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles respectively. Then we also discussed about the function of non-striated muscles, its structure also, and finally we have given you the location of these non-striated muscles. Finally, we have discussed about the cardiac muscles, where we have discussed about its shape and size, its location. As we said, it is only present on the cardiac wall, on the wall of the heart. And finally, we have discussed about the most prominent difference of this cardiac muscle with your striated muscles and non-striated muscles. Dear students, we will finish up our discussion today with this discussion over muscles. We will continue this very explanation over this chapter tissue. We will enter into the last part of this chapter and we will discuss about the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue for animals and mainly for human beings, you know very well, that is also very important for all of us, because our nervous system is very elaborate and it is very complicated. So in the next part we will discuss about this nervous tissue. Whatever note I have given, after that I will try to give few more notes in form of question answers or some definitions and related pictures. I will surely send. Clear? So this much we are keeping today for our discussion. In the next discussion we will continue this very explanation over nervous system. So till then, goodbye.